Morning, everybody. Nick McNaboe,
Michael Milano.
Together we're Team MNM, and today we've got the pleasure of talking to Tony. And Tony, you're the owner of Mindful Link.
Yeah, that's correct.
And we're just so thrilled to get to interview you, get to meet you virtually, and get to know your story.
And Mindfully, so you're an emotional intelligence coach, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. First, thank you for having me here. Yes, my name is Tony Saccardi. My company is Mindful Link, and I am an emotional intelligence coach. I train and coach people in emotional intelligence.
I know emotional intelligence, when that comes up, a bunch of stories pop into my head about what it is, and I'm sure the same goes for you, Mike. And Tony, I mean, if you're in this space,
what is it?
A lot of people exactly. Good question. I love this question.
A lot of people probably hear it, but it's like, what is it?
Yeah, it is a household name, right? We talk about emotional intelligence, about people's EQ, and as opposed to IQ, and everybody's aware of emotional intelligence. There was a book from Dan Goleman that came up in 1995. That was the first major book on emotional intelligence, and it became a bestseller, an international bestseller. So everybody's heard about it. But when you ask people what is emotional intelligence, they go like, let me think. It's not that obvious. Basically, they've done a lot of research in organizations before they published the book and then after that. And they followed like the best leaders, the great performers at work. And they tried to figure out what were the traits, the features, the skills those high performers had. They knew it was not IQ. They knew that having a very high degree of intelligence, the regular intelligence, high IQ, and technical skills was not enough to succeed at the workplace. You needed something more, you need something different. And that's what they found out. They found out that it was a different set of skills, and they put that under the umbrella of emotional intelligence. And those skills are divided into 4 domains. Like self-awareness is the first one, being aware of yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, how you behave, and so on. The second one is self-management, to be able to control your emotions, how you feel, your thoughts, and how you show up in life, basically, how you listen, and so on. And the third one is social awareness, being aware of other people, so not just about yourself, being self-centered, but also being other-centered, caring about other people. And then finally, relationship management. So all the skills that we see at work, like influencing, inspiring others, teamwork, conflict management, and so on. So those are the 4 domains of emotional intelligence. And that's how, when we talk about training people in emotional intelligence, coaching people, that's what we do. We train them into those skills.
So there's 4 clearly defined categories then, right?
Yeah, 4 domains and 12 competencies, 12 skills.
So is there like a test that you do to kind of see where people might be more deficient or proficient?
Oh yeah, excellent question. Yes, we do have a test. It's called the ESKI, Emotional and Social Competencies Inventory. Mm-hmm. And it's a set of like a lot of questions, and it's also a 360. So you fill it out yourself, but you also ask typically your manager, the people who report to you, your clients, and your peers, and also some of your friends to fill it out. So you get like 12, 15 people to fill it out at the same time that you fill it out yourself. And you discover a lot from it. You discover about your competencies, the way you see yourself compared to how other people see you, but also how you're doing, in average in each of the competencies. How good are you at empathy, for example? How self-aware are you of your emotions and so on? All that becomes clear when you take the test. One thing I want to mention that's very interesting is that the people with the lowest degree of emotional intelligence, who are the least self-aware, grade themselves the highest.
Isn't that telling? That's funny. Wow. It's like, you know, that on that level of unaware, right?
Yeah, and it makes total sense. If you're not, if you're unaware, you have a low degree of self-awareness. You think you're doing great. You think you're very empathic, and you don't understand why people think differently. There is a gap between what you think about yourself and how people see you.
Hmm.
So we try to reduce that gap when we work on emotional intelligence.
So how did you get started? How did you come into this field?
I used to be in IT. I worked all my life in IT. I started like in France, then I worked in Italy, and then I came here to the US. And I was working for large financial institutions, Wells Fargo, then Schwab, and so on. I was a director over there. I loved my job. I was in the flow most of the time. I was wondering, like, why am I getting paid so much for having fun all day long? and but one day I felt like, I've been doing this for a long time now, and it paid the bills and so on. But I didn't feel I was really contributing to life in general. It was not a big contribution. I was helping people make more money, but that didn't seem to be enough to me. And and I had questions about my own purpose, my life, and so on. And that's when I came into contact with mindfulness. I volunteer at work for the wellness center to help people with different things, health and so on. And they asked me if I would bring in meditation. They had tried before, didn't work out, so they asked me, hey, why don't you try again, to bring meditation at the workplace to help people with stress and so on. At the time, I thought meditation is a waste of time, right? You sit down, you close your eyes for half an hour. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you waste your time like this when there's so much to do? It doesn't make any sense, right? But then I tried it because I volunteered to do it. And so twice a week, I sat down for half an hour and listening to a guided meditation and inviting people to come and join me. And I realized very quickly that was so cool. That brought you into a space where you really reconnect with yourself, with your deeper self, and that started to make a lot of sense to me. So when I saw that, I got very active on that side, and I created like a mindfulness program for the workplace. I got certified as a meditation teacher, and finally I decided, this is more interesting than my current job, so I'm gonna make that my career. And I had an opportunity to let go of my job and get a little parachute. So I took that, and I started my career with Mindful Link LLC as a mindfulness trainer. And one thing led to another. I went into coaching, and then finally into emotional intelligence coaching. When I heard that Dan Goleman himself put together a program to teach coaching, to form coaches in emotional intelligence, I didn't even hesitate. I signed up for it, and that's what I did back in 2018. And now I have the certification from Dan Goleman, and that's what I'm using.
So that's a huge transition that you went through.
It's a big transition from IT. You think about the people from IT, they're not exactly the kind of people who would switch, to a career like I did. But it makes a lot of sense because that's exactly what we're missing.
And you, part of the demographic that you serve are people in transition, right? Like individuals in transition.
Yes, yes. And I focus a little bit on the IT folks because that's where I come from, right? And that's where there is, I would say, a lack of emotional intelligence. People tend to be introvert, and they tend to be very, very talented in technical skills and so on. So they can easily live their whole life in front of a screen and forget about everything else. Kind of did that myself. And I think that's not good for them, and that's not good for their company either, because they're missing a large part of life and work, which is connecting with others, working with others. If we want to build something that's really, really good, you cannot build it on your own. You have to take the input, the feedback from other people, involve them as well, and then you can create something great. That's what people like, even Steve Jobs did that. He was not working alone. He invited people at the table. And So that's why I'm focusing on the people in IT. But anybody who is in transition, who is going from, I would say, being mostly an individual contributor to wanting to expand and maybe managing people or creating a startup where other people are going to be involved, working with shareholders, stakeholders, then I can help with that. I can help make that transition from being slightly self-centered to being other-centered.
Mm-hmm. That's a big shift probably for those people.
For anyone it is, and again, we can all improve our emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about today, where we are so stressed out, the country is divided. There is the pandemic. There are lots of uncertainties, lots of unknowns. It creates a lot of stress for all of us. When we get into stress, we get into the fight or flight mode, into the limbic brain, and then everything becomes black and white. It's either good or bad, right or wrong. Not a lot of nuances. We're not really using the best of our faculties, the best of our brain. And that's what we do with mindfulness. And emotional intelligence at the end is mindfulness in action, right? It's based on mindfulness, but it's putting it in action in the real world. With mindfulness and emotional intelligence, you learn to control that. You learn to control the fight or flight mode and not stay in it, but get out of it and see the bigger picture.
That's beautiful. I mean, we see that in our day-to-day jobs. I mean, as realtors, our job is to help with a transition that all people are in, from moving from one place to another. And there's a lot of uncertainty, and people get scared and can slide into that fight or flight response. So Mike and I've kind of lined up our business to be professional listeners and kind of put other people's ideas into action. And I mean, it's just right there when we're just talking here. There's so many parallels to mindfulness and how Mike and I are running our business. It's really rewarding to see that and to hear somebody who's a professional in this. I mean, being able to reach out to you is something I look forward to. And if I were to do so, would I just go to your website? Can I, email you? What's the best way to?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is probably to email me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just go to, mindfullink.com?
You can go to mindfulnink.com and you'll be able to contact me from there. If you have my email, you can email me directly. It's tony@mindfulnink.com. What I do offer is that for anybody who wants who thinks that they're in that space and they want to move to the next phase, and they're ready for it, and they think that coaching may be the right step for them, I offer a chemistry session, which is it's free. It's 45 minutes, and then we meet, and you experience a coaching session. I let you experience a coaching session. We get to know each other a little bit, ask you a few questions, and then you experience what it is to be coached. And then after that, you can make the decision whether it's for you or not. The funny thing with coaching is you have to have that chemistry, between the client and the coach on both sides. Otherwise, it doesn't work really well. But once you got that, things are possible. And a little bit about coaching. Coaching is about finding out who you really are, your core values, your purpose, and also knowing about your blind spots. We all have blind spots, and we all have those voices inside, the judge, the inner censor, and so on, telling us what we can do, what we cannot do, judging all our actions. And that makes it hard for us to sort out, what we can really do and what direction we should take. So a coach can help you with that, making the right choices and being in sync with what you really care about, which is your core values and your real purpose.
That's interesting. So how long do you typically coach somebody?
So there are two programs I give. One is regular coaching. So we meet every other week for 3 months. and I can set you up, and usually it's about work-life integration, making sure that your work and your life are well integrated, that you live in your real life, not someone else's life.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is learning emotional intelligence. When we do that, you go through an online course that was designed by Dan Goleman himself, which is 12 weeks long. And you have new material every day that you learn to learn all the skills of emotional intelligence. And every other week, we'll meet. I'll be coaching you. So we'll go review, what you've done and what you're working on, but specifically what you need in your real life, at your real work. And we'll go through specific examples, challenges, and so on to make sure that you're growing your skills of emotional intelligence. And at the end of that, usually I see that with my clients, that they become a different person.
Yeah. And people have to just be open to being vulnerable to even enter that, feel that emotion.
Yeah, that's key. I mean, it's being vulnerable. If you want to be a great leader, you need the skills that you were talking about, Nick, before, which is to understand other people and being able to sense when they go into that fight or flight mode, and being there for them, holding them practically. And the other thing is listening. Who knows how to listen today? Most of the people, when they say they're listening to someone, they're waiting for the other people to finish a sentence so they can say something. That's not listening. Mm-hmm. Listening is to really care about what the other person is saying, to be curious about them, to ask open-ended questions so you can know more about them. That's listening. It's totally different. And that's what we learn in emotional intelligence, particularly in the skill of empathy. Being vulnerable is key. It's like, to try to be perfect doesn't work. To be yourself is much better.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you do this on a corporate level also. So that's more like for the individuals.
So yeah, I do work with individuals, but most of my work will be with corporations. So training a team in emotional intelligence, and coaching the team, and coaching individuals, the ones who are in transition. So if someone is mid-level manager and they want to climb to the next step to become maybe a VP or something like that, then I can really help them.
Gorgeous. So Tony, moving through your career and getting the word out, you've got a great program. You're offering coaching. Is there anything that you're working on right now to kind of expand on that and get this to more people? Projects in the pipeline. What do you got going on that might be exciting for us to learn about?
Yeah, thanks for asking me. There's a project that's very dear to my heart, which combines mindfulness and emotional intelligence. Well, they're already combined, but what I'm doing here is specifically focusing on the practice. What's happening when you practice some of the meditation techniques is that you're changing your brain inside. So it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym and you build the muscles that you need. Let's say you want to be, you play a sport like basketball. You will go to do some conditioning of specific muscle groups so you can become a better player. Here, the idea is the same thing. You want to learn the skills of emotional intelligence, but if you want to be really good at it, you need to do some conditioning. And that's the practice of mindfulness, of those meditation techniques. So I'm creating a course where we will go through 9 different meditation techniques, all associated with a specific skill of emotional intelligence. And so it will be for you to be like going to the gym first to build those muscles, and then using those muscles to become more emotionally intelligent. And each step is going to build on the previous one, and you will going to grow into that. But it's going to be very organic because now you're going to work it out from the inside out. And the end game with this is that because you do it that way, because you practice the meditation, because you go to the conditioning phase of your brain, you're going to be totally different, and you're going to own those skills. You're going to embody those skills.
That's so cool.
So the online course is going to be ready, I suppose, in a couple of months, and hopefully I'll have an ebook to go with it as well.
Well, we should do like an update when that stuff's ready to go, because I think it's an incredible gift to the world to have access to such self-improvement steps. Like there's actually a roadmap for it instead of,
Yeah, it's going to be a roadmap.
it's a, that's something that seems like it's one of those things that a lot of people keep to themselves. They're working on themselves. But gosh, when you are asking for help and it's out there to be found, it's so much better. Tony, I'm so grateful that we got to meet. I think that what you do is invaluable. It's bigger than definitely working in IT. So thank you for what you do and what you provide the community. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Nick, Mike. Thank you so much for inviting me today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Again, thank you for joining us. Nick McNaboe,
Michael Milano.
MNM Bay Area. We're all about Marin. We're all about local businesses and giving back to the community. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to put you in contact with Tony. All of our contact information is in the link below. Tony, your mindfullink.com will be in the link below, and we can't wait to see this ebook and this course you put together. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.